cultivate witness consciousness at the sites of profound suffering, beginning with the 70th anniversary of the first atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, to last month's My Lai massacre in Vietnam. There I am in the AP photo. To the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of Jeju 4/3 2 weeks ago. My thinking has been framed by this statement by the philosopher Giorgio Agamben: human beings are human insofar as they bear witness to the inhuman. This is from his book, The Remnants of Auschwitz, The Witness and the Archive, which has the same concerns that this Jeju 4/3 Reconciliation Conference has. What does it mean to bear witness to the inhuman, like what Mr. Hu and Mr. Park spoke about? How do human beings become human when they bear witness to the inhuman, like at Auschwitz and Jeju 4/3? How does bearing witness to the inhuman help advance societal healing and reconciliation, still in progress 70 years following Jeju 4/3? As you know, Jeju 4/3 Sasam, the Sasam events refer to the huge massacre on Jeju, which continued from 1947 to 1954. Beginning on March 1st, 1947, as we heard, when police killed 6 unarmed demonstrators at an independence movement demonstration, followed by general strikes, protests about police brutality, and the police retaliating with more killings of Jeju Islanders. Attacks on government offices, police stations, and the burning of polling stations for the upcoming national election on April 3rd, 1948, where this then escalated to the vicious cycle of terror and counter-terror. Even after the open hostilities ended in 1954, the dictatorial South Korean government outlawed public discussion of the massacre. This ban on free speech continued until 2003. That's 49 years. Also in 2003, the Truth Commission completed its report. President Roh Moo-hoon officially apologized to the people of Jeju for the massacre, and the Jeju 4/3 Peace Park, with its memorial hall and museum, opened to the public in 2008. The establishment of the park was an important step toward reconciliation, but reconciliation and healing is extremely difficult considering the profound psychic wounds, the epidemic of post-traumatic stress syndrome, the PTSD, and the unending sorrow from the losses that cannot be recovered. Bearing witness to the inhuman means experiencing, remembering, or coming to know an event, especially one that is traumatic and violates the very humanness of one's being, like at Jeju 4/3. Oh, by the way, there's a little postcard handout that has some of these ideas here. Especially the traumatic, and it violates every humanness, the very humanness of one's being, like at Jeju 4/3. Inhuman refers to violence, assault, and trauma to the body, to the mind, to the psyche, and the spirit. This humanization can destroy the capacity to think, to feel, and to be conscious or aware at all. These violations so destroy the essence of innocence, decency, and life itself. The experience penetrates beyond comprehension and words. They are unbearable, unspeakable, suppressed in memory, and then manifest in nightmares, PTSD, depression, despair, self-destructive like suicide or drug use behavior, or sociopathic responses. Bearing witness to the inhuman then involves allowing ourselves to know and remember something so painful we may not be able to even think about it or talk about it for a long time, if ever at all. Then sharing orally or through writing or video or art or music, or when it comes to museum exhibits, the experience that we remember, and this is what the witness testimonies were about. It's about bearing witness to the inhuman. So witness bearers are those who report their first-hand experiences and memories. They include the villagers, the soldiers, and anybody else who was there to observe and could tell about the events. Mr. Poo and Mr. Park are, of course, live examples today of first-hand experience witness bearers. Last year, Mr. Tai Kyung-oh, who was 86 at the time from Daegu City, was healthy enough to travel with this group, with this contingent, to New York City. He was 16 years old when the police came to his house and arrested his parents, older siblings, and other extended family members, took them away and was never seen again. 80-year-old Ko Wan-soon was 9 years old. We met her last summer on Jeju. She tells about the police coming to her elementary school and marching everyone outside, lining them up in about 30 at a time, the teachers and the school workers in the field next to the school building, ordering them to turn around and then getting mowed down with machine gun fire. Then the next group of 30 would come. She, this and again. Someone yelled to stop the shooting, and so she survived. Go Gi-jong watched soldiers kill his father, his grandfather, and his grandmother. When they killed his father, he said, the grandfather said, "You killed my son. Maybe you ought to kill me too." And they shot him and killed him. His mother said the same thing. "You killed my son. You killed my husband. Maybe you ought to kill me." And they shot her dead. He was the only one that was left. Of course, Mr. Wong, as I mentioned, Mr. Wong, Dr. Im, who's here, describes her father's cathartic outpouring of feelings that he detailed in these drawings from the memory of his Jeju 4-3 experience. These are sheets of butcher paper that they laid on the floor, and he frantically wrote and made drawings like this, tears flowing the whole time, and outbursts of terror when he had flashbacks as he was drawing them. Dr. Im writes that this is a case study to heal Jeju people suffering with trauma. So the emotions and their expression can be intense, even explosive, but this is what is healing. Or actually, it could be rewounding. As witness bearing continues though, the stresses and traumas can subside and healing can commence for both the teller and the listener. The emotional burden may be lightened and the dissolving of wounds can progress. The visitors to the Jeju Museum are also witness bearers, getting to know the experiences through the recorded narratives, the photos, the videos, the artifacts, and the exhibits. And those participating in the rituals and the commemoration, like 2 weeks ago, the 70th anniversary, I heard there were 25,000 people participating. And those students that come to workshops and summer programs and other commemorations, likewise are witness bearers. But most important, witness bearers can be anyone, you or me or our students, who is open to hearing and learning about Jeju 4-3. We learn about Jeju 4-3 in written documents, books, and journals, in video documentaries, or even at meetings and conferences like this one. Gil-shun Ko is the artist who designed many of the sculptures in the Jeju 4-3 Memorial Park and Museum. Mr. Ko reports that he had many nightmares during and after his working on the pieces. His bearing witness to the inhuman was as though he was present at Jeju Sasam. Now the exhibits in the park and the museum, visitors see this and also bear witness to Sasam. In witness bearing, the acknowledgement of the experience relieves irreparable wounds and softens transgenerational trauma. Listening is a means of holding space which makes the pain and trauma gradually bearable and faceable. At the 70th anniversary, students from high schools all over Jeju built special shrines in their schools, made videos, and did other projects to commemorate Jeju 4-3. This is significant because now the young people are bearing witness, not just the people who remember Jeju 4-3 or their descendants and relatives. It's really the young people, and so it's spreading. Encounters with the sacred and the eternal can also unfold in the process of bearing witness to the inhuman. Canadian Kenneth MacLeod, his wife's name is Chgo, who is from Jeju. Kenneth talks about his father-in-law, his wife's father, who is a Jeju 4-3 survivor and whose father was murdered in Ere. The father-in-law was filled with bitterness and nightmares for decades, but his entire outlook turned around when Kenneth and Chgo presented his father-in-law with their first grandchild, Sean. That's the one who's on the right. Father-in-law came out of his death and depression and found a way back to life, and now he has his family back. The connection to the eternal here is that Sean is actually the spirit of great-grandfather, Keon's grandfather. The Crows at Jeju 4-3. With international students at the Summer Peace Academy, the tour guide points across the park to these 5 monuments like gravestone sculptures, bodies with no heads. The 5 monuments represent those who perished in the Jeju 4-3 massacre, the tour guide explains. And just right then, 5 crows like this one appear circling about us, cawing loudly. Only several of the students noticed. Later I revealed to the students the crows were cawing the enormous sorrow and horror of Jeju 4-3, but they also brought great strength, compassion, gratitude, and affirmation. They were cawing, "Thank you for coming to Jeju and learning about what happened here. They are happy to see you, young adults here, blessing you to go forward in your lives as peace envoys." The students nodding in quiet recognition, goosebumps touched in spirit. At the 70th anniversary, the crows returned to the gravestones of the unknown dead, each saying, "I am the spirit of the person named on this tombstone. Thank you for coming here." Like other memorial sites of mass suffering, the Jeju 4-3 Park Memorial Hall must do more than document the event. It must navigate these conflicting political agendas, the unsettled questions about responsibility and judgment, about human rights violations and crimes against humanity, and the wounds from PTSD and generational trauma. By using the bearing witness process in museum and education programs, it may be possible to navigate these complicated questions, needs, and power agendas. Bearing witness to the inhuman is a kind of semi-detached watchfulness, a present mindful, engaged attentiveness. You see and feel yourself in the struggle. You see the suffering which imprison and trap you. Bearing witness to events like Jeju 4-3 is to get to know who we really are as humans. When it comes to extreme violence, atrocities, and brutality, we realize that we indeed have the capacity, willingness, and even the need to commit them. When we come to that realization, the bearing witness to the inhuman can advance towards psychosocial healing. But to do so, we must change the way we view our experiences and our memories. In terms of the polarity, not in terms of the polarities of right versus wrong, good versus bad, justice versus injustice, or even victim versus perpetrator or oppressor. Because if we only judge the perpetrators and condemn them, we continue the cycle of aggression and dehumanization. Psychosocial healing, then, is the model that aims to transcend these dysfunctional polarities that hold repetitive wounding in place. It views human transgression as an issue of wounding and healing. Learning to bear witness to the inhuman is transformative. It changes how you think, how you view the world, how you see yourself, and how you relate to others. It changes everything. Bearing witness to the inhuman allows us to claim our humanness, following Agamben's call to bear witness to the inhuman. The starting point for bearing witness is to sneak just a glance into the chaos, the vicious, the brutal, the barbaric, the darkest side of human nature. On this journey, we come to know the most bitter experience of war and of suffering, and then we lean into these pains when we know them as ours too. We feel in community, we feel solidarity with all who suffer. We come to know and feel this is our shared humanity. Through the witness-bearing process, we get to know and appreciate profound suffering. We must go through questioning faith in ourselves, in life, or in the eternal, and then opt to affirm faith in self and in life, despite darkness, inhumanity, and suffering. In this way, we cultivate the wholeness, honor, and healing, and the dignity that we seek. This gives a new meaning and a redefined purpose to our lives as beings, whether human, inhuman, or something else. Thank you.
The next present Professor Edo Kim, Jeju National University, presented on the searching for a social healing practical model focused on Jeju, April 3rd, historical drama. Please go.
Give us a moment for technical.
Well, Jeju Massacre are a worldwide event. Jeju Massacre was a state crime committed by United States